Okay, hi everyone. This is You Yutang, also go by Atlas. I'm currently working in Taiwan Space Agency, and today I'm bringing you the topic of you either become an astronaut or become another screw for society. So one of the reasons I propose these topics is not just only because I currently working in the space agency, but also when I'm thinking about what I do in high school, I was kind of confused about what I am what I will be in the future. So I didn't actually think through when I was young. So back in the day, like 15 years ago, I was in high school. By that time, like only one or two people owns a smartphone there. So people still read hard copy books, and so do I. Then by the time, my dream is kind of like being an author because like writing the books is kind of like the being YouTubers nowadays. So it's like a popular dreams by the time. And I think by the time I think that if I could study hard and choose a good university, I could also have a daytime job and also write books for as a side job, and everything of my life will be go flat and straightforward. However, the life doesn't go that way, right? So when I enter like the second half of my first year in high school, my math courses dropped and my physics courses dropped. So as just mentioned, I received like 9 out of 100 in my math final exams. So that doesn't seem quite right, right? So which means I realized that I wasn't quite suited for the um, education system by then. Then I would started to the backup plan to study abroad in the United States. I then soon applied for the college in United States in Seattle. Then I went to United States when I was 17, and hoping that by changing the environment, I could also change my different lives. However, there are still three obstacles or challenges that comes. The first one is the language barriers and culture barriers. Of course, I didn't raise in the bilingual environment, so I have kind of like struggled at the beginning. And the second one is when I get into United States, I was 17, and I still didn't quite think it through about what I will be majoring in. So firstly, I picked the business and management. Then after a couple months, I switched to art and science. Then after another couple months, I switched to biochemistry. So that is the kind of like a very and different path that I study on. And the third one, the most important and dramatically changed is that one of my close family members has been diagnosed as cancers. So I have to return to Taiwan to provide like a mental and physical support. So I total study in the United States for like 2 to 3 years, and so when I'm forced to return to Taiwan, I have to start another backup plan of my education's career. So I try to apply through a special interview program into Jiao Tong universities. So by the time I still kind of like probably like B minus or C plus or even worse students. So I try to like utilize my experience in United States to convince the professors there to say, hey, this guy might have some potentials to do something in the universities. So when I was studying in the United States, I'm not only doing in academically events. I try to accumulate a lot of different kind of like part-time jobs and student events. So firstly, I joined the student associations. So I help them, despite I doesn't speak English very well by the time, I help them to organize like science fair, like orchestra events and international nights. So I can get a lot of experience of organizing some events. And also I participated in many social service groups. So I've been a chef, the cook who cooks the French fries in the homeless shelter on the Christmas and Thanksgiving days. So providing food for the people who doesn't have home to return or have food. And I also work in the construction site to try to build a bee house for my schools. So there are a lot of experience that I try to like not only feed myself into those communities, but also try to help others to fit in that communities. I will call this kind of experience, I will name it like building the social bonds and also helping others to build social bonds. And that is pretty much how I convince the professors to accept me, to get me enrolled into the Jiao Tong universities. And when after I get into Jiao Tong universities, there's where the space part came in. So just a quick survey here. Has any one of you, like, knowing that Taiwan has the research center about space industry before the TEDx day? Okay, one or two. Okay, cool. Then it's good for you. So I only know the fact that Taiwan Space Agency really exists in Taiwan until I was in second year in Jiao Tong universities. So back in the day, I was major in media, communication and technology, which is teach students to get familiar with new media, like being a YouTuber. So when I was in second years, I found out that Taiwan Space Agency does exist, and being part of the space industry was the cool things for me there back then. So without hesitations, I choose those courses. And even though I'm not most talented students in the classes, I still managed to show that my collaboration skills and, as just mentioned, the way to build social bonds. Building a social bond is not just only like making others to go into the same place and gather in and just chill out, but also to understand others' needed. This not only useful in the social division, but also in science and engineering divisions, because a huge system such as like satellites or the rocket or like starships you see in the Stargate, they requires a lot of different people in different groups to collaborate. So like people who building machines, who building softwares, they have different souls. So they are not just only like technically speaking, something is totally correct or not, but requires some certain bond connection or like communication skills. So with those chances and courses, I managed to have the chance to cooperate with JAXA, the kind of like the NASA in Japan, and also some other space organizations in Europe. So after I graduate from Jiao Tong universities, my dreams or my path started getting clear. I would like to be an astronaut, or at least be part of the space industry. So I soon get into the Taiwan Space Agency, as for now. So I believe that being an astronaut is not just only the traditional astronaut you see on the movies, not just the one who riding or driving the space shuttle or driving the rockets, or not just only the scientists who works in the International Space Station, but also the one who are willing to solve the problem that comes in the future eras. So for now, we are kind of like in the we are in the AI era, right? So we are dealing with the climate change, we are dealing with the AI advancement, and maybe some other war happens in another side of the planet. But I'm proposing the idea that if you are trying to pursue certain jobs or trying to pursue the conventional path, you will be fitting into the past, or say you will be fitting into the present idea. And being an astronaut means you are be trained or have the experience to fulfill the expectations that have never come in human history. So I believe that in the next 5 or 15 years, we'll be into the space era, and we will be facing the challenges that people still on the ground have never expected. So we will be colonized probably in Mars, but maybe I would say Moon is more practical. So there will be people who live in the Moon, and there will be people who live on the space stations. Once we think about their resources, their social connection, the policy, the political issues there, they are never been seen before. So with the various experience that I have in my education's past, I would say being an astronaut is kind of like a mindset that will provide you to accept any kind of challenges that you are willing or unwilling to have. Because in the most of the time, the challenge doesn't pick by you, but by fate, or it just comes, and there's no way to hide or no way to run. So try to be an astronaut, trying to be someone who could solve the future problems. And if you could have such mindset, or you have some certain dreams right now, try to take one step forward to let's say escalate your dreams into being in the like a space version or a space era type. Then I will hope that today I could kind of like inspired, or maybe one of you might think about being an astronaut in the future. And I hope that if one of you could have the idea to be an astronaut, and you will lead us in the better future and help the humankind to discover the new world. And that's about it for today. And thank you for listening. This is Atlas.